right, so we're gonna do some shoulder opening with something about this size, or the size of an acorn squash. Could be a pinky ball, could be a tennis ball. Mine's a little bit bigger. Whatever you've got handy, let's give it a try. So we're gonna take a bit of care of our shoulders. So a lot of the time when we're feeling tension, turn down the music a little bit, we were rocking out yesterday. When we're feeling tension in our backs, some of the common places we feel it are the top of your trapezius muscles, which get really tight, squozen up, because we tend to be a little bit slouched forward, and so when we're a little bit slouched forward, we put extra work in those trapezius. We want them to be strong, we just don't want to overuse them, because that results in us looking like this, which is cool if you want to be a Hulk, but it also really starts to hurt your neck, and it leads to more chin poke. So in order to relax these trapezius, we want to be strong in the place just between the shoulder blades. And the thing is that sometimes we can get locked up by overusing any part of our body, right? So a lot of the time, if I found that I've gone a lot of days, maybe if I'm in a big batch of grading or studying or playing Skyrim, and I sort of get stuck here, there's too much, if I'm too slouchy, I can do too much work here, and that can cause a knot, which means like when your body is over fatigued, a muscle can sort of get stuck. Instead of contracting and release and contracting and release, it can get a bit gummed up. And so we use self-massage to sort of break up what can be that stuckness, can be a little bit of scar tissue. So if we've overused a muscle, which is made up of hundreds of cells, maybe more, maybe thousands, some of those cells get worn out and maybe micro tears happen in the cells, and then when they patch themselves together, they make a little tiny bit of scar tissue, and that's what gets something gummed up and stuck. And that's why breaking up that scar tissue allows the muscle to start moving again, and we want it to heal with the muscle cells in alignment rather than patching all weird. Oh, I see a chat is coming in. Maybe we got a question. Good. Fun facts, right? So that is what we're going to be doing, and that's why it's a little bit uncomfortable when you do a deep massage, is because you're kind of breaking up. Basically, it's like, you're ripping off your internal band-aids a little bit. So we're definitely going to hit a few places around the shoulder girdles, because we're going to certainly hit the rhomboids, which are right here between your shoulder blades and the spine, and they pull your shoulder blades back. There are also muscles under subscapularis, your scapula, aka your shoulder blades, and those are really hard to get, but sometimes when we shrug forward a little bit, we can kind of move them out of the way and get a little bit into the subscapularis muscles. But there's also muscles that just live, like they're attached underneath that bone, so you can't really get them, so we'll dig around a little bit in there. Those muscles all pull your shoulder blades back, yeah? So if we're really slouching from the chest, we want those to help us with the work of sitting up straight. There's also these guys down here, but we're not going to talk too much about your lats today. We are going to get into the under your armpit area, and most of us forget that. So you have rib cages, right? So you have these little bones, all these little bones that are going sort of in the direction of my fingers. Between each of those bones, all the way up the side here, you have serratus muscles, which connect each rib to one another. And so they, when you're eating ribs, right, like barbecue ribs, that's the meat we're talking about. And a lot of the time, the serratus muscles in here get really stuck and locked down because they're squeezing tight. And so we're going to explore into this lower armpit area. If you have really sticky deodorant, sorry about that. But there's usually some really tender little spots in here that are keeping us shrugged forward. So we're going to release that. And then we're also going to work in the pectoral area. So everybody knows pectoris major is the big one on the front of your chest. There's also a minor, which is a little bit lower. So we're going to get into those two places, and also the places of connection beneath your collarbone, and that holds onto your shoulder. So if that's tight, all of those things would be pulling your shoulder forward and then overworking back here. Yeah, so today we're going to focus on how do we release the tension in the shoulders so we can get back to that long neck open place so that the weight of your effort is on your skeleton rather than overworking these muscles, which then get locked. There's your long intro. All right, so we'll do a little bit of moving around first just because it's easier to release your muscles if you have a little bit of blood flowing through. So we'll warm up and then we'll do stretching and self-massage, and that will be our plan for today. Okay, all right. So, I see we're already seated, so let's start on our knees. And we'll take a big breath in and shrug our shoulders up and then press the floor away so we're rising up. And we're going to roll those shoulders back. Exhale, take your tailbone back and then just slide it out. And that will be, we'll make a little flow out of that. So let's draw our pelvic floor in and our Pilates scoop in. So belly button to spine and roll out the spine. And then we're going to lift our head and our shoulders. Roll them back and press down through the calf sections. Exhale, take that tailbone back and send your chest down. And inhale, roll up. Shoulders up, shoulders back, and press forward. Exhale, take it down. And we want to keep the feeling of the pelvic floor lifted all the way so your forehead gets back up. And then we'll start pelvic floor in. Pilates scoop in, really curve that lower back like a Halloween cat. Lift those shoulders up and press them down. Start to open those hips a little bit more. And curl down, belly button back. Slide it down. Go ahead and slide yourself forward onto your elbows. Let's just circle the whole back. So whatever feels good, just wiggle it out. Up on your hands, big side to side. Taking those hips back. Your child's pose. Lift your pelvic floor. Pilates. Curl the lower back. Lengthen the neck. Shoulders up. Press the floor. And then just that top part of it. Curve back your waist. And press the floor. Trying to keep your 12 o'clock pelvis, or at least curve back the waist. Up. Lift your arms up and your chest up, but also pelvic floor and Pilates scoop, so it feels like you're lifting all the way from the pubis or the hip sides. Exhale down. We're going to move it flat back and forward. Try to anchor your shoulders. Arms out to the side, to the back. Hips back down, melt. Curve that back, roll it up. Take your hands, interlace your fingers, and press them forward. Really open up that upper back. And we're going to tilt the body over to the right. Keep both hips down and scoop the pelvic floor engaged. Switch over floor. Outside. Drop your head down, chin into your chest. And tap the top of your head on the floor. And roll back up. Pelvic floor. Pilates scoop. Rise. Touch the pelvic floor. And lifting up. Let's take our shoulder blades and pinch our shoulder blades back in together while we're staying in the spine. Come halfway down. And backstroke with the arms. Let your body stop. Other way forward. Freestyle stroke. And both arms forward, come all forwards. Cat, cow, Halloween cat. Go arch the cat. Now Halloween cat, push the floor away. You arch the back foot, please. Find a nice flat back. Send your right arm and left leg out so you're in a tabletop. Reach around with that arm and check on your back and your pelvis. Is your back nice and flat here? Is your pelvis even? And keeping that left and right hip in the same position, can you lift your leg a little higher without changing your back? There you go. Arm back out. Good. Find your breath. Switch sides. Send it up. And taking that left arm around, checking that lower back. I can see that I can lift up a little bit. And I'm a little uneven. I was dropping that hip a little bit, so I need to square the hips. Anchor both shoulders down, and then use just my right glute to lift the thigh up without changing that lower back. Finding my breath. And take it around and back down. Tucking those toes. I'm going to press back into a downward dog position. And breathe through these shoulders. I'm going to walk my hands. So you can have bent legs here. That's totally fine. I'm going to walk my arms, keeping my elbows in. So I'm trying to draw my elbow to my belly button. When I place it back down, I'm trying to let the elbow stay pointed towards my toes. But the temptation is for the elbow to rotate out to the side. So keep it in. And both hands down, elbows pointed towards the floor. And just go for a walk with your legs. Pulling up through that pelvic floor. Squeezing those elbows towards each other. And both legs down. Let's bend both legs. Squatting back, pushing with the hands. Keep your knees pointed forward and extend those legs. And exhale. Press the weight back. Inhale. Slide it forward. Exhale, send it back. Opening up the chest. Inhale, slide it forward. Sneak your knees out. Send it back. To a plank if you can. Strong core, send it back. To your plank. Send it back, knees down, rest. Open up your heart. Walk your fingers a little bit forward like a creepy monster. And let your chin rest above your mat. Kind of look forward. So you're really arching that upper back. Walk it halfway back. Elbows on the floor. Shins parallel. Sorry, shins. Forearms. Your arm shins. Arms parallel. Lifting up through your pelvic floor. We're going to keep ourselves nice and stable here. And just send one leg back. Little pulse. Look underneath yourself to check that your pelvis is equally lifted left and right side. Bring it down. Check those shoulders by rolling your shoulder blades before we go to the other side. Alright, shoulder blades are anchored down and back. We're going to lift up through pelvic floor, Pilates scoop, nice long back. Left leg is going to send itself out. Looking underneath yourself, square the hips. And little pulse of the thigh, so just your glutes. Good. Anchored shoulders, lifted pelvic floor. Take that knee down. Press back child pose. Big breath. Come back to all fours. We're going to move our hands underneath your shoulders. Elbows to side and back. Side and back. Side and back. Side and back. Holding those elbows in. Let's go back up to our downward dog. Just walk your legs Opening up the back of the legs. So a little stretch, whatever feels good. Walk into it. Let your shoulder blades slide away from your ears. So it feels like your spine is slipping down towards your hands and the shoulders are being left behind. Good. Bring those legs together. You don't have to be straight, but I do want your back and armpits to be open. So let's walk your hands out. See if you can get your chest and your ears by your upper arms. Alright. Right leg's gonna rise up and tuck into your core. Shift forward. Good, 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 good. Press it back. Press that leg up. Square through the hips and shoulders. Leg comes down. Let's try the other side. Elbows in. Knee to your chest. Shift forward. Send it back. Extend. Bring that leg on down. Good. Knees down. And take your hips back. Your wrists are probably feeling tired, so take your hands, flip them all the way underneath like your fingertips are trying to touch your palms or the inside of your wrists. We're going to put the knuckles on the floor, and then we're going to push our wrists past our knuckles for a wrist stretch. Deep breaths here. Go ahead and roll on up. We're going to take these knees now and widen them. And just take a moment and circle your hips around. So your hip flexors might be really tight. Probably do something wild or crazy. Let's gently move through that area. See where you're starting out today. All right, deep breath in. Exhale, tuck your tailbone. Find that Pilates scoop. Lean it back. Take your hands behind you. See if you can open up your eyes. So you're lifting in and up. Lifting in and up. Shoulder blades stretching back and together. Elbows to the back of the room. Stretching through your thighs and hip sockets. What's going on over here? Pulling up and in, lift your body. And let's see if we can rise in this position, yes? So nice broad knees. You want to make sure that you're not feeling a lot of stress here. So if this feels really tight to you, move slowly, gently. Think about opening those legs and rising up. And if this is really a no-go for your knees, it's okay to skip this. You can just move on. You could tuck your toes here. Gives you a little less room. But it's not going to be for everyone, so that's okay. It's not for your knees. It's alright. But if it is okay with your body, then lifting up from that core. Lower. Take those elbows back. Lift up from the core. Come back down. Alright, let's switch. Moves around to the side. So now I'm sitting in what we call a seated fourth position in dance. Your right foot is going to be in the front of the center of your body, and you're trying to get both hips down on the ground. That might take a little bit. It might feel like you're leaning over. So see if you can find a place by adjusting your legs where both of your hips, your sit bones are on the floor and your knees are wrapped around you. And then what we're going to do is we're going to articulate the spine from the bottom to the top and then from the bottom to the top again. So we're going to wind around towards the front leg and beyond, and then we're going to wind ourselves back up. So we begin by lifting this hip off the ground. There's the bottom of the spine winding. And then we're going to twist through the waist, trying to keep our pelvic floor lifted and our Pilates scooped in. Then our rib cages are going to turn. Then our shoulders, which are down and back, and then our neck, and finally our head. So for this first one, just try and stay on top of yourself And you can push a little bit with your arms into the floor or into that right knee to really twist all the way to the right. Twist your eyeballs as well. Look all the way over your right shoulder. Shoulders down, shoulders down. Couple more breaths. Good. Come on back. So we come back by putting the hip down first. Then our waist comes back, and our ribs, and then our upper ribs, and our shoulders, still shoulders, legs down. And then neck and head, and look all the way to your left with your chin and your eyes. We tend to often to look and drop our head to the side as we're anything, because we think that'll get us farther. To lead with the top of your skull, but I want you to think the skull is nose on top of chin. Yeah, so nice vertical swivel. Push with your hands a little bit. Big deep stretch. Look at your eyes as well, as far to your left as you can. Find your breath. Good. Come back up. All right, now we're going to make that into a fluid motion without our arms. So we're going to start with the hip, and we're going to go hip rotates, waist rotates, ribs rotate, shoulders to neck, head, and then hip back down. Waist, ribs, shoulders, neck, head, push hip, waist, ribs, shoulders, neck, head, go hip, waist, ribs, shoulders, neck, head, twist up hip, waist. We're going to stay on the far side, ribs, shoulders, neck, head. Go ahead and lift your chest a little more, pull your focus back. And lean out, putting both hands on the floor on the right. Let your back twist. Good. Lifting up through the pelvic floor in the blood scoop. Draw your shoulder blades down your back again. Lean over enough that you feel the weight lifting out of that back left leg. We're going to lift that leg. Lift, 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 lift. If you want, take the weight out of your hands as well. Lift. Or maybe one finger. Pulse it, put that leg down, wrapping it behind you as far as you can, and then hips back. So turning back to where you were, all the way to the left, really stretch through your neck, and wind it up again. We're going to lean out and up, and lift that leg up, and this time we're going to try and open it, so let's leave our big toe of that foot on the ground, and just lift the knee. Just the knee. Another hip. Oh, just the knee. Oh, just the knee. And put these down. Just the knee. And another hip. Place it down. Come back up. Whoosh. We're going to take that leg that was to the back. We're going to flip it over the top leg and just lean into the stretch. Oh. Nice and gentle. Unwind, and we're going to take to the other side. So nice broad legs. Take a moment to sit back and find that place. It's really tight today. Settle into it for a few moments and a few breaths. Found your position. Sit up nice and tall. And we're going to start from that hip, pushing the hip through, waist. Remember, pulling up and squeezing the abdomen in, shoulders down, looking through your chin, neck, eyes. And coming back home, leading with the hip. The hip goes to the floor, then the waist, and the ribs, and the shoulders, and the head follow. Really feeling that big twist all the way through your spine and trying to keep your spine vertical on top of itself. Good. Let's flow without using the arms now. We're going to go hip, waist, ribs, shoulders, head, 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 stay on the next one to your left. Waist, ribs, shoulders, head. Take your hands down to the mat. Feel that twist all the way through your spine. Anchor the shoulder blades down towards the back, so we're squeezing those rhomboids and the subscapularis. We're getting them warm so we can loosen them up next. We're going to pulse, lifting that leg off the ground. Pulse, 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 pulse. Keep drawing up through the body. Good. Wrap that leg all the way around you. Return. Hip, waist, ribs, shoulders, head. Wrap the last 10 blades. Ribs, shoulders, head. We're going to lift up with the chest. And we're going to lift just the knee. So we're doing that froggy action with the leg. Making length in the torso. Good, good. Take it back. And take that leg on top. Crossing one leg over the other. And leaning forward. Your legs, when they're tight in the hips, they look like a big stack of twigs. That's fine as long as you're feeling these hips open up as you lean forward. If they get flat, that's fine too. Looks really different on different people's bodies, so don't worry so much about that. As long as you're feeling it outside and underneath of your hips, getting the stretch, and you're doing it correctly. Big breath, dropping. Onto our backs. Pardon me while I move my mic. And we're going to take a few moments here first to just think about that shoulder blade relationship. So I'm going to place my hands down by my sides, lifting up, pelvic floor, Pilates scoop, and I'm going to use my arms, particularly my elbows, and I'm trying to think about my shoulders too, but it mostly feels like my elbows and arms are working. And I'm going to press into my arms and lift the rib cage up. And boy, oh boy, I had a lot of back cracks just there. So go ahead and keep pulsing that back away from the floor, pushing into it. Let me solve my music problem. Oh, I got paused there. Yeah, so pushing into the floor. You're still lying there. I just had that fixed. We seem to have a HomePod override issue in my household. So if someone upstairs turns on the HomePod, then all of the HomePods pause. It's a little mystery. Okay, so gathering in your core, we're just going to do neck rolls. So head, neck, shoulders, rise up. And just take a moment, take some inventory. Can you lift that pelvic floor? Can you get your Pilates scoop down deeper? Can you lengthen your shoulders like you're reaching low through your hands? Pulling your shoulders back. Heels, toes together. Chin, we're going to drop it down and make 16 chins here. So the back of the neck is nice and long. And with that anchored spine, we're just going to take a few little walks. So we can really keep that feeling of pressing inwards. Shoulders back, neck long. Anchor to the core, down into the mat, like you're growing roots from the lower back. All right, let's take the head, neck, and shoulders back down. Take those legs up. Bicycle in the air. And at first, don't think about it too much. At first, I'd like you to just notice the feeling of your lower back and middle back on the mat. Does your pelvis feel like it's rocking? Let it rock some more. Let's explore first. Yeah. How does the weight of your legs shift that pelvis? And let's go ahead and bending one leg, let's lift the straight leg up and bring it back down. And keep that leg straight up, even lower than the hip, and control it down. Straight up, control it down. Bring both legs in, turning them out. anchoring through the body. We're going to press all the way down through those long arms, long necks. We'll do double straight leg stretch. So I'm anchored down through my core, and I'm slowly reaching my legs long and bringing them back up. And it looks like a leg exercise, but what I want us to feel is the whole of the lumbar spine on the mat. And also today, really feel your shoulder blades wrapping down into the floor. So they're coming closer to your spine. Your upper arms and your armpits are pressing into the mat. And your legs are just barely moving. They're just really complicating the act of pressing down long into the back. Is your chin poking? Can you tuck it down so the back of your neck feels long? How's your scoop? All right, let's bring this back up. And we're going to do a variation on this action. It's called the corkscrew. So we're just going to draw a little circle here in the air with our legs. And feel, remember how we just did that hip lift rocking action? I want you to anchor both sides of your pelvis onto the mat and let the two legs circle without your pelvis leaving the mat at all, so you're staying even. This means one leg will seem a little longer than the other. Let's go the other direction. Staying anchored. And then let's do a little check-in with the rest of our body. How's your pelvic floor? How's your Pilates scoop? Are your shoulder blades down and back together? Go ahead and bring those knees to your chest and give them a nice big hug. And slide that left leg out nice and long, holding your right knee into your chest, opening up the left hip flexors. Notice here too that your leg is going to want to drop your hips through. I want you to keep that lower back on the floor, please. And then notice how your leg wants to go out to the side. I want you to keep it to the center line. And it's okay if that leg on the bottom isn't straight. That's fine. As long as you're holding your torso in that nice, even rectangle. Shoulder, shoulder, hip, hip. We're going to work on holding the long leg in while we're pressing the up leg to our bellies. Exhale. Hollow it out, lift it up, and then head, neck, and shoulders are going to rise in this position. Check your left leg is drawn in and extend your right leg. Doesn't have to get very straight. We're just adding the right leg stretch. If you see this jiggle happen, yes, I call that the tickle me Elmo spot. That means that my thigh muscles are triggering their reflex, which means that's the maximum stretch for me for today. Go ahead and bend it. Both knees in, head, neck, and shoulders are still up. We're going to hollow it out, bring those legs together, and just a little pulse here for a little excitement. Pulse, 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 and then switch legs. So now my right leg's going to slide down. I'm going to put my head, neck, and shoulders back down and find my placement. So it's fine if your right leg is bent. Left knee is pressed into the chest. Feel how your left hip wants to rise. I want you to square the hips. Keep the thighs to the center line. Draw up through your core. So that's a lot of detail just to hold that much of the position. And remember, the amount your long leg goes out is definitely based on your ability to hold these hips square. So if you're super tight here in your psoas muscle, it's going to make your hips rock into 6 o'clock. And that's not where we want to be right now. We want to be holding this squared torso. Big breath in. Exhale. Lift up that floor, scoop it, and rise with your shoulders. Check that leg, still on your center line. Hips are squared. And unfurl the left leg. How are your shoulder blades? Could they go back down your neck? Should you make a few more chins by tucking and lengthening the neck? Holding your center line. 2 more breaths. And both knees in. Stretch it out long. Arms up over your head like you just spoke up in a cartoon. Lifting your whole spine, clamp the mat. And we're going to roll onto our bellies. We're going to walk our elbows underneath our shoulders and circle those shoulders. All right, go ahead and put your head down. Let your shoulders come up to your nose. Let's build this position. So your legs are going to come together. Squeeze them like you're holding on to $1 million. Lifting up your pelvic floor, and then your Pilates scoop. We're going to lengthen the tailbone towards the heel, so a little bit of length through that lower back. Pull your shoulder blades together. Pull your lats so that you're helping to lift the rib cage up and spread the heart forward. Drop your chin just a little bit, and instead imagine that you are lengthening through the back of your ears or the top of your skull. Lift that belly away from the mat and just press into your Sphinx arms. Press into your Sphinx arms. Press into your Sphinx arms. Push your heart forward a little more. Lift back up through the lower abdomen. Find your breath. What more detail can you put into this? Can you lengthen the lower back a little more? Can you pull your shoulder blades back a little more? Can you lengthen through the neck a little more? 2 more breaths. Slide it down, arms forward. We're going to take your right arm and slide it underneath that left arm. We're going to press with that right arm and twist the upper body open. Rest your head on the floor. Press and twist through that upper body. See if you can really use the floor to get a stretch underneath your shoulder blade on the body. Finding your Sphinx again. Let's build it up. Legs together, pelvic floor, Pilates scoop, long lower back, shoulder blades together, heart scooching forward, shoulder blades anchor down, long back of the neck. Press into the arms, lift your core, run through your checklist. Long back of the neck, lift it up through the pelvis. Lengthening, reaching, lengthening, reaching. And go ahead and slide your right arm a little bit forward, and the other arm comes through. Let your spine twist on. Pushing with one arm, and letting your bottom arm get dragged almost by the mat. So the more I draw my ribs sort of down and back, the farther away I get from this floor shoulder. Good. Come on back. Bring your elbows back by your rib cage. We're going to build up just like we did. Legs together. Pelvic floor. Pilates scoop. Long lower back. Shoulder blades anchored. Elbows in. Press up to your modified plank. Hold it right there. Lift, flip, 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 flip. And come back to all fours. Walk your kitty paws until your hands are underneath your shoulders. We're going to inhale. Pardon me. We're going to inhale with that right hand up to the air and just press your chest open to the right, thinking about your shoulders not scooching up towards your neck but anchoring down. So you're anchoring down, opening the chest, twisting the spine. Looking up to the sky, lengthening that neck, drawing in through your pelvic floor, and switch it down. Other side. 3 twists. Shoulders away from the ears, long spine. Lift it up through that pelvic floor. Just take your time. Feel the detail. Good. Take it down. And we're going to thread that needle again. So let's take that left hand that was just in the air and tuck it underneath. Your left hand is in the air. You're tucking the left hand underneath. We're going to crawl the fingertips down, back, past the foot, and try and get your shoulder on the floor as close to under your heart as you can. Now the weight of the body is just going to shift in that direction. And you're going to lengthen the neck away from that shoulder and let a stretch happen, both on your back, under that shoulder blade, and also your neck here that's against the floor can get a little stretch as well. So be gentle, be careful with that neck, but also allow yourself a big stretch. Finding your breath, checking to make sure you're not pushing down through the pelvic floor and the torso, instead we're lifting up. And let's just sliding the right arm all the way underneath. Holding that shoulder blade by pressing your hips towards the shoulder, curving through those ribs. Gently lifting and adjusting the head to find a stretch in the neck, respecting the neck. If you find that there's too much weight in your neck, you can press with the hand that's close to your face here to lift that way. Now we think about opening up those ribs and shoulders there. Good, let the weight of your hips drop back. Give yourself pattern. Walk our bodies up. We're going to take our arms up to the sky. I'm going to take your left hand, place it behind your back, like you're going to pat yourself on the back. Oh, good job. Nice, nice, nice. Yes. Big breath in with me. Drawing up from the base of your spine, and then you're going to take your right hand and gently press your elbow back in space. Back in space. Yeah? Now, you might be tempted to slouch here, as though that will get your hand further back, but I want you instead to sit up as tall as you can and draw that chin in. Take a nice long neck here. And then we're going to lean slightly away from the stretching arm. Go ahead and switch sides. If you need to get off your knees and sit crisscross applesauce, that's fine. Patting yourself on the back with your left arm. Your right arm is pressing that elbow behind the head. Long neck, shoulders down. Find your breath. Tip away. Elbows up behind you, drop your head. Feel those shoulder blades squeeze together and smush all of those muscles in your upper trapezius. And let your hands go down. Open that space. And lift them up again. Upper trapezius working. Squishing and working at the same time. And lengthen them down. Spreading them. Try and squeeze your hands together behind you. And up again. And squeeze them back down. Squeeze the hands together tighter. It's like you're trying to reach your hands as low and far away as possible. Feet close together. We're going to walk our hands back in space. And I want your fingertips to be pointing towards your toes here. Elbows, we're going to squeeze them towards each other. Yeah, so no elbows out to the side here. We want to point those elbows behind ourselves. Walk your hands back. Big breath in, lift the chest, open up the chest. Ooh, pectoral muscle stretch, perhaps also your front deltoids. Lift that chest, open the spine. Open up that heart, lift it skyward. Stretch through the hands and the wrists as well. My shoulder blades are quite lifted here, so they're supporting my neck. Chin to the chest. And now I'm going to take my elbows down to the mat beneath me. I'm going to tuck my thumbs underneath my back or waist, depending on where you are. We're going to drop the chest in, hollow it out, and then we're going to lift it up, pushing into the hands. And switch, drop the chest. It's kind of like cat-cow, you guys. That we were doing earlier. Sideways. See what I'm doing with the chest here. So curve it, draw in and up. And arch it. Really big stretch through the front of your shoulders. Yeah, so your pectoral muscles right here. The little attachment points of your pectoralis major and minor are stretching. And also this deltoid right there. All right, let's draw that down. We're going to pull up on our pelvic floor, in with our scoop, and we're going to take your lower back down at 12 o'clock. I'm going to stick my thumbs under there as a reminder. Yeah, so I can really feel my lower back is trying to grip against those thumbs. I'm going to press into the mat. I'm going to draw my legs in. And I'm just going to do a little leg movement, but again, remember, this is going to be about holding that 12 o'clock position, nice strong abs. Shoulders back. Just anywhere you want to float your legs. Slow motion. Keep rechecking, resetting your torso. Shoulders down, abs in. Lifting up instead of pressing down, so your pelvic floor is lifted and engaged. Shoulders down. How's your neck? My neck's getting tight. I'm going to try and loosen that. Alright, take those feet down to the floor. Lift your chest up and relax your neck again. So your neck is resting on your shoulder blades. Go ahead and extend those legs out. Open up the chest. And lengthen your skull down. Slightly turning your head in this position. Slightly tilting your head. Chin to chest to rise up. Good, good. All right. We're going to take our prop, whatever sort of ball you have. And we're going to start placing that ball on your right side. If this is the tip of my shoulder blade, I'm going to start down there at the tip of my shoulder blade. And then I'm going to place the ball here between my back and the floor. So I'm going to be laying on my back. And we're going to take a long time to slowly move the ball from the tip of your shoulder blade up to the top of your shoulder. So it's going to go that path. Yeah, we'll do it together. I just wanted to show you. So down on your backs, taking that ball between your back and the floor. If the ball you have is super hard and it's super intense, you can put a towel between yourself or a blanket or layer of something squishy. Mine is fairly squishy, so it's kind of comfy. But if yours is harder, then it might be a little more. So I'm going to start on my elbows so I can adjust how much pressure is happening. And I'm going to slowly, so my shoulders are up, so I'm leaning my neck on the shoulder blades. And I'm going to take some deep breaths in each position. We're going to try to release. So if you feel the feeling where you lay down on the ball and your body immediately wants to jump away, I want you to lay less deeply and to breathe into it and see if you can ease your weight onto the ball. And we're really going to take our time. So big deep breaths. you want a little more pressure, you can scoop your arms out. You can even put your head on the floor if you're feeling ready. Yeah. Find your breath. Feel the ball in the muscle. When you're ready, you can scooch your body a little bit lower and let the ball be a little bit higher. We're basically going to think about this in terms of, about 2 breaths by each rib. So if you can feel, I can feel my rib being pressed on right there. So I'm going to scooch up to the next rib. I'm going to breathe into that spot. We're really going to take some time here, breathing into that sensation without judgment. Asking ourselves whether that sensation is just fear, your body kind of protecting itself, whether that's necessary right now, whether it's time to let that part open back up again. Let that scar tissue break up. Release that numbness. When you're ready, travel up another rib if you're ready. Find your breath. Notice what other parts of your body might do work with holding tension. And exhale that tension is alone. Scooching up another rib. And at some point you're going to find a spot that's like, woo! Maybe on one side, maybe on the other. Let yourself explore a little bit. If it feels super tight and delicate, then be slow. Slow down. Take some care there, but if you're feeling like it's not too intense today, add a little rocking. Experiment with lifting that arm up. Let's get that down. Switching up a little more. Lifting that arm. Pushing that ball up a little further. So for me at this point, I'm getting to the inner point area of that shoulder blade. And I have a pretty squishy ball, so I'm lifting up both arms and letting the weight of my ribs press in. Bringing them back down. Scooching up a little higher. Now I really feel like my shoulder blades are up because of where the ball is. My shoulders are draping open down towards the floor here. And I'm going to press a little bit higher. Start to feel a new tight muscle, probably the lower part of my trapezius that I'm hitting now. Definitely a little more tension there. I'm just going to breathe into it without judgment.
Doch wir machen alle Fehler und wir bauen alle Mist. Es wird wohl keiner hier behaupten, dass fehlerfrei ist. Ich sag das nur so deutlich, dass es keiner mehr vergisst. Die Lieder dieses Albums gehen
higher, almost to the top. That's when you know easiest. And for me now, I'm between the top ridge of the shoulder blade and the base of the neck, or like that punch right up the that feels like it's myself a little block. Still and soft yourself.
Wir haben alles in Musik verpackt, was mich nicht erschien, aber prüft lieber zweimal, ob es auf die Wahrheit ist. Denn wir sind noch Menschen, die sicher nicht schon finden, das behauptet nur der Prof, dass das bestimmt ist mir klar. Noch was ist klar, und zwar, dass wir Vergebung brauchen, jeder Tag und der letzte sein, so viele Dinge laufen. Nichts ist mehr unmöglich, Nahrungsmittel tödlich, keiner hält uns auf, aber aufhören wir mündlich. Und immer wieder Menschen sagen, diesen Wichser tödlich. Wichser heißt Politiker, die Chefs und Polizisten, wir bei dieser Meinung bleiben, sind wir nichts als Geschissen. Wenn wir gleich davon sprechen, Lilian mit schwachen Rechten, dass wir mit Worten töten, das ist ein Verbrecher schon, doch wir sollen
Place it just underneath the shoulder. So it's got to get underneath that and I'm sort of pressing my body towards that ball. Massaging out. Again, slowly turning your face left to right. Definitely
Wir brauchen keine Waffen und bei uns fließt kein Blut. Bei allem, was wir aussprechen, brauchen wir Mut. Denn wir sprechen Dinge aus und sprechen Dinge an, die nicht jeder wissen soll, mit denen nicht jeder kann. Der Herr ist unser Hirte und ich glaube seinen Worten. Er hat uns die Macht gegeben, Feinde zu ordnen. So wandten wir sie an und haben sie gewonnen und drehen nun den Wachsen über ihnen unsere Runden. Tun keinem was zu leiden mit den Songs auf dieser Scheibe. Und er glaubt ihr etwa wirklich, dass wir solche Macht besitzen und mit der Macht unserer Worte unsere Feinde aufzuschlitzen. Manche von uns glauben dran, andere wieder nicht. Wer weiß, ob man uns glauben kann, glaubt es besser nicht. Es ist ein Traum, den man nicht rauben kann, glaubt es besser nicht. Wie ihr merken könnt, sind wir nicht
lean your body towards the ball for one last pressure.
Auf die Dinge, jeder wird sein eigenes Licht. Auf die Dinge, die ich bringe, doch ich weiß, dass wir Licht ins Dunkel bringen wollen. Und dass alle, die uns zuhören, mit den Themen reden sollen. Wir saugen jetzt in die Vollen, sagen toller Gold. Das ist
let your body come back, free from that ball. Take a moment. The shoulders and feel the difference between the side that moves up and the other side. Hopefully that feels fantastic. All right, still on the side we're working on. We're going to take our ball and we're going to sort of, I think maybe just roll it with your hands. You can roll it, basically like if your armpit is an oval shape, more or less, we're going to go anywhere down below that bottom oval shape. Now, if you have a pretty squishy ball, you could put more pressure on it by weight, but that might be too intense. Yeah, I definitely recommend it if you can handle it. If your ball is really small or really hard, you might again want to put a towel over it to give yourself a little softness. And if it's just absolutely not too tight and sensitive in there, go ahead and just lean your arm into it or press with your hand. And we basically want to, you can feel the muscle of your latissimus dorsi, this big muscle right here. So anywhere along the ribs between there and your breast if you're a woman, but basically the side of the rib cage underneath your armpit, there are going to be some places in there that are just like surprise little mega sharp parts. And when you find one of those, pause and breathe and see if you can allow your muscles to melt apart over the ball. Big deep breaths. Let your breath be a tool for unlocking tension. steady breath. Explore your ball. Try and stay for 2 breaths in any place that feels sensitive. Remember, with all stretching and release, we're gonna definitely find places that are uncomfortable, but we don't want it to be like a sharp or a surprising pain. We want to ease up to that place. Don't force it. You can pull back a little bit. Passion. Pull it up a little high. And then see if you can. We've been working here mostly. See if you can now move it to the place where your pectoral muscles reach to the shoulders. So we want to get this. Take that arm, extend it out behind you. Place the ball between your shoulder onto your pectoral muscle. Locking your hands. Ready. That whole shoulder girdle feels able to release a bit more. Still use a little bit more in the top here, but let's go ahead and switch to the other side so we can get through both sides. So now we're starting on the opposite side. For me, it's the right. Leaning onto our ball at the tip of your shoulder blade, so the ball is between your shoulder blade and your spine. We're basically letting the weight of the body massage the paraspinal muscles, which are all those muscles that run vertically alongside your spine on each side. 2 breaths at a time, working our way up from the lower tip of your shoulder blade. Deep breaths. Slowly scooching up. I'm about halfway now if you're traveling. Remember, you can experiment with turning your head left to right. breathe. Let it slide. That tension is just serving. It's time to let go of that fear. Release that area. Go your need to protect area so that it can heal. Make your body feel safe enough to heal. Go ahead and scooch it up a little higher. And if you can, and you want a little bit less, you'll notice sometimes I put my wrists behind my back, and that sort of lessens the pressure. But also, if I'm on this side here, yes, and I'm going to take my wrist, palm down, and slide underneath, kind of rotates, it fans this shoulder blade out towards the floor. Lets me get underneath it a little bit better. I like it. Also try moving the arm across the body. Just circling it. Breathing into any tense spots. Up into that trapezius. Elbow around. Breathing into any tension. Leaning my whole body away from my arm, letting the ball rest trapezius, and I lift the arm up. Roll on, 2. Moving the ball underneath the rib cage. It does feel pretty delicious in your lats as well, but stay on track. So you can wrap up one time. Rolling between each pair of ribs. The ribs on the side of your body here, they're kind of diagonal, starting higher and dropping low onto the front. It might help think about rolling the ball in that direction, or maybe it's just like, woo! You probably notice that your dominant arm side is more intense than the other side. And right now I've made a little fist with my opposite arm so that I can rest my head on it like a pillow, and that takes a little bit of the pressure off. I'm also using my top leg as a counterweight by extending that top leg away from my shoulders. It takes a little bit of the weight off the ball. Letting your breath soothe you. Finally up to those pectoral muscles. Big deep breaths. Seek out those little places of tension. Pardon me. If it's more comfortable for you to lay all the way on your belly, you can do that. Stretching that arm away from you. If you want a more intense twist, you can lift the shoulder up. Straighten that arm behind. Come on out of there. If there's any last place that you feel like, oh, I just want to go back to this one thing we did, take this last minute to go back to whatever place you wanted a little more time in. For me, it's like upper trapezius. done it! Myofascial release day.
Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.
How you feeling, guys?